Hello everyone, I'm Chester44, also known as Fly, and welcome to this Let's Play of Citizen Sleeper 2. First thing to comment on, yes, I am not using the model in the corner. That's because it's at a point in the stream where the cat is going to be bothering me for the next hour because she wants to be fed, but her feeding doesn't happen for another hour. She's already walking in front of the screen, and I can tell you right now this would be a problem trying to deal with her while I'm trying to do, the recording and everything with her moving in front of cameras and all that. So I'm just going to try to avoid that for the next 2 episodes and just use the little 2D model. Apologies for this. I'm sorry for the change. It'll be fine. As for what happened in the last episode, we made our way towards this location, which I already forgot the name of. I can't remember. Aphelion? Something like that. I can't remember the name of the place. I am bad with names sometimes. Anyway, after searching around and finding this radio station who wants us to get something for them from Holmes Rock, which we'll go to get soon, we also managed to find the information for Eugene. And it turns out the people from Ember's Song, including Peter, are also looking for this information. But we have our best goal now, and that is probably a series of beacons that leads to the drive. The ship itself was taken apart here and used to build this, but the drive itself, that we can find. Let's head to the Aphelion beacon here. Eugene is definitely coming in. Let's take... let's take Bliss. I feel like those are a good mix because they both do 2 things. And we don't have to worry about specialization too much. So let's travel. We're coming up on the beacon site now. Seraphin brings the ship into place. Signal's pretty weak, though. He turns in his chair. Which is what you get for chasing 10,000 cycle-old leads that got a lot of people killed. Since you explained the situation to Seraphin, he hasn't gotten any more enthusiastic about the job, especially as it's a job that comes from Eugene. Seraphin shuts down the engine and turns to Eugene. Time for you to go have a poke around in those rocks. He waves a hand at the scattering of asteroids. Enjoy! Eugene barely seems to notice the sarcasm. A kind of fixed determination has come over him since he left the Hollow. It's not something you've seen before. Let's suit up and find the beacon. He pats you on the shoulder. Lewis said it's the first of a trail, so the faster we locate this one and get ourselves pointed to the next, the better. Enough messing around. He kicks off and glides out of the cockpit, heading straight for the airlock. Not the most attractive of locales. Bliss smiles as they nod towards the sparse gray rocks. But we should keep our eyes open anyway. Those that leave trails like to leave traps, too. Never worked on a fraction drive before. This thing turns out to be real. I call shotgun on digging around in its guts. They wink and follow Eugene. It's just you and Seraphin left in the cockpit. He taps at his console, ignoring you. You think this is a bad idea? Seraphin turns. Me? He mockingly puts a finger on his own chest. Look. People have been searching for this thing since the Solheim collapse. That's a lot of desire directed at one hidden drive. Objects like that tend to get people in trouble. At least in my experience. So take it slow. And keep your eyes on Eugene. Seraphin turns back to the console, busying himself with diagnostics. You turn and leave the cockpit, your mind on the beacon and the trail that should, all being well, end at a ticket out of the entire system. So all we have is this, beacon region. The beacon's location is masked by debris or radiation. You'll have to search it to find out the path ahead. We can search the rocks. Rather than messing with signals, simply searching the rocks in the area should help locate the beacon, or triangulate the signal. The beacon signal is weak and dispersed, but with some work, it might be possible to determine its precise location. Well, we can do some of the triangulating. Combining multiple layers of signal analysis reaps rewards. Almost there. Jin, you're gonna have to search the rocks. That gave you some stress, but you did get some. Through effort and care, the search area is narrowed. Double stress. Alright, Bliss, you can give it a help. Let's try this one. Double stress. And this one's a bit risky, but... double stress. That is very bad. I was hoping not to get a negative on me. Alright, and we got one more stress, so... let's end the cycle. Gotta do one more search for a guaranteed success. You go ahead, search the rocks. Let's hope this works. Got it. This beacon contains the coordinates for the next beacon in the trail. You just need to extract them. We can analyze the site. The site where the beacon is planted shows signs of a ship landing and excavation. Perhaps analyzing the remains would help. Or decrypt the signal. There appears to be data hidden in the beacon's signal. Could it be the location of the next step in the trail? Bliss, analyze the site. There we go. The scorch marks from the ship's drive seem to indicate the direction of onward travel. For decrypting the signal, that could also help. The corrupted data seems to be hiding some coordinates. This has to be it. And one more. You have the vector for the next beacon. Time to follow the trail. We're in. Jin nods at the data port deep inside the body of the beacon. He peers through his suit's faceplate at it. You have part of the plating removed, and you are pretty sure you have access to the coordinates you need. All that's left is to slot a drive. I've got this. Jin takes out a thumbnail drive and slots it. Easy as can be. A smile flickers across his face. You peer into the beacon. It has been a delicate job getting the security access and the system knowledge to find the coordinates for the next step, but it all seems to have passed without incident. Got it. Jin pulls the drive and thumps you on the shoulder. Let's head to the next one. Look alive down there. Seraphin's voice comes over the comms. We've got a ship on approach. We need to make ourselves scarce. You and Jin exchange looks. The singers. You kick off and glide towards the ship, but Jin goes in the other direction. You wonder what he is doing for a second, and then you see it. He arrives at the beacon and immediately begins laying into its metal shell. He pulls a tool from his suit's belt and caves in the beacon with an anger that chills you. When he's done, the beacon is just another chunk of debris in the shoals. He joins you in the cockpit. Seraphin gives you a look, but doesn't say a word. He just silently taps in the new coordinates. You look across at Jin, his expression fixed and his eyes cold. Then Seraphin fires up the drive. A shrill beep wakes you from your stargazing. What was that? Seraphin looks around the cockpit as warning lights and sirens sound all over the ship. The terminal screens flicker, some of them not coming back on. You hear a groan from somewhere deep in the ship. Some kind of pulse, an energy weapon? Seraphin slaps the side of his flickering terminal until it stabilizes. On it, you see a red dot moving further away from the center of a circle. A ship is accelerating away. Seraphin taps at his console, bringing up the transponder information. He turns to Jin with a hard stare. It's Vesna. Jin shakes his head. Got it in one. Seraphin grits his teeth. The Limhound, registered in the far spindle. He slams his fist on his keyboard. How did she find us? How? Because Jin is a sloppy operator, that's how. Seraphin shakes his head and starts working on the drive system. Now we're stranded. She knocked out our drive. Must have been waiting for us. We'll need to get it activated as quickly as we can. Jin is up from his seat, peering out of the window at the large rock floating just outside. The beacon has to be there. Vesna cracked it and then waited for us to catch up. She was trying to dissuade us. Well, she's done a pretty good job. Seraphim scrolls through layers of drive diagnostics. Give up now. Jin glances at you. We're so close. But Vesna is ahead. The race isn't over yet. Jin meets your eye. She still has to find and extract the drive, not to mention the singers. We decrypt the beacon and fix the drive. No distractions. Jin kicks off and glides out of the cockpit towards the airlock. Drive is likely just a system problem. Bliss gives you a serious look. We isolate the fault and it shouldn't be an issue, but it isn't going to happen fast. Look, Seraphim turns in his seat. We're in this now. No way back, only forward. But the moment this goes south, and it will, I'll pull you out and we are leaving. Whether Jin wants to back out or not. Seraphim meets your eye. He's serious. We won't leave, Jin. We can handle it. I hope you're right, Sleeper. Seraphim turns back to his console. This, as far as he is concerned, is your problem to fix. Disabled drive. You won't be getting far with a disabled drive. Time to get it started again however you can. We can bypass the system. Bypassing the entire control system of the drive and triggering it manually is a drastic option, but the time is short. Or forced startup. Forget tinkering with the drive with no time to waste. Physically forcing it to restart might be the best option. We also have the beacon. The final vector is contained in this beacon, the last hurdle before you've reached the fraction drive. The beacons are becoming familiar, which means a little rewiring might help reveal the coordinates faster. Or, once again, the beacon's signal hides the coordinates of the next beacon. This should be the final one. I can do some decrypting with it. So we try these two. That helps out a fair bit. Let's see what we can do with this. You are going to be able to do well with bypassing the system. It's going to take a fair bit of time. You got stressed from that, but we did get some drive activation. Okay, that helps. That helped a little bit. I think I might be able to finish this, decrypting the signal. That added stress. Crap. Oh, come on! I can't take more stress. I've already got more stress than I can handle. Alright, go ahead and end the cycle. Oh, this is gonna be bad. I've got a lot more stress than I want to deal with. Thankfully, nothing went off. Okay. We can do some things here. Do a forced startup here. Okay, you bypass the system. You can do another forced startup, and this might help. Damn it, I'll need to do something here. But first, actually, yeah, go. Fix the disabled drive, bypass the system. There we go. Drive is fixed. And we can finish decrypting the signal. You have the vector for the final beacon. Time to end this. Seraphim punches in the final set of coordinates into his console and runs a fresh set of diagnostics on the rig's drive. Everything comes up green. The atmosphere in the cockpit is tense. None of you know what you might be flying into. Jin's jaw is set, his eyes on the stars and scattered rocks, his goal in reach. It's not a goal to be underestimated. A fraction drive, one that can take any ship out of the system and beyond, one that can forge a path through the surrogate systems few can take. Freedom, both from this system's politics and the structures of power that dominate the passage of people through colonized space. The problem with such a lofty ambition is that it is infectious, seductive. It is desirable enough to draw people out, bring them to their absolute limit. You have seen that in Jin. The singers, too, are shaped by that desire, and Vesna, the steely-eyed captain you don't seem to be able to shake. The question is, who will flinch first? I have way more stress than I want to deal with. Here you are, moored around a remote and airless rock, a scattering of debris concealing an object of great value, in a system spiraling into war. We're the last here. Seraphim shuts down the drive, but at least no one started shooting. Vesna would only kill as a last resort. Eugene looks out at the rock. The singers, I'm less sure about. Reassuring. So what now? We walk out there and start digging? We talk it over with them. A fraction drive doesn't divide in 3, Sleeper. You turn to face Eugene, but he is already gone. You get after him. Seraphim shakes his head. I'm going to keep the rig warm. I get the feeling we are going to be needing it. As you glide out of the cockpit, you hear the airlock cycling. Eugene is already out. You speed up, grabbing a suit and wrestling it on as you head for the airlock. The door hisses open to reveal a sparse landscape. The twisted parts of a facility or ship, corroded beyond recognition, jut up out of the dusty rock. Squinting into the faint and distant sun, you can make out 2 figures in suits, standing a fair distance apart in the middle of the loose circle of debris. You glide down towards them, specks of loose gravel and decaying metal bouncing off your suit as you do. Now, a voice crackles through your comms as you approach, broadcast over the open channel. None of us want to die out here. You see them now, the 2 figures, Vesna and the leader of the singers, Peter, facing each other across the dusty plain. Vesna's arm jutting out from her body, her hand resting on an object at her hip. A weapon. Keep your distance, Sleeper. Her eyes flick over to you as you approach. This godforsaken rock is crowded enough as it is. We set foot here first. The claim is ours by anyone's judgment. Peter speaks calmly and slowly, his arms at his hips and his palms upturned. And I suspect we are also the best equipped to find the fraction drive and put it to use. Anyone's judgment? Vesna scoffs. Who do you see out here to validate your claim? She gestures at the rock-strewn void with one hand, her other firmly on the grip of her handgun. The Sleeper is our witness here. Peter turns slowly to you. I'm sure they will verify our claim. I didn't see who was first. Well, at least someone here still has integrity. You look between the 2 of them, searching their faces for an intent, an opening, anything. Vesna's ocular implants give nothing away, but the visible tension in her gun arm suggests failing patience. Peter, meanwhile, projects an atmosphere of considered calm, but there is violence behind that benign smile and a crew of singers somewhere out there in the dark. So we have to make a choice. We can either claim the drive, in which case we're going to have to deal with both of them. We can tell Vesna to back off and give it to Peter and the singers, or tell Peter to back off and give it to Vesna. In my opinion, Vesna is the least... is the one least, is the one who needs it the least. She's basically just a pirate. She just wants to get out. Peter and the people of Ember's Song, we know what they are. They just want to live on their own, and they want to flee and go wherever the hell they want. They just want to leave as well. And forge their own destiny, as they have done. But they don't really think about others, just themselves. They're very insulated as a people. And as for me, I'm just doing this for the sake of Eugene. Eugene pulled me into this. I don't want the drive. I'm dealing with everything else here. Given all of that, Vesna using that weapon will seal your fate. Perhaps. She smiles daggers at you. But I doubt you will be alive to see that come to pass. Her arm tenses. The shot is silent, its direction unclear, but its effect is immediate. The side of Vesna's suit explodes in a geyser of escaping oxygen. She spins, clutching at the wound to clamp it closed. As she does, you see the shot grazed her, splitting the suit but leaving her body beneath intact. Might want to run and get that fixed, Vesna. Yujin slips out from the shadow of a piece of debris at the edge of the circle. He holds a gun at his hip. What are you doing? Claiming what's mine. Yujin's eyes are fixed on Peter as he moves slowly closer. You son of a bitch. Vesna is doubled over, unable to take her hands away from the hole in her suit without risking immediate depressurization. Yujin draws up alongside you, his eyes still on Peter. Time to turn yourself around, get in that ship of yours, and go back to wherever the hell you crawled out from. You glance at Vesna. There's a spout of oxygen leaking out from her suit, leaking between her fingers. She doesn't have long. We can't abandon this claim. Peter shows his open palms. For the singers to survive, we must leave this system behind. There is no way for us to support ourselves here. Our moon is gone, eaten up by the war. The belt will be next. You may as well shoot me here if you are not going to let me take the drive. This is my people's future. Well, Yujin shifts his shoulders. If you insist. Sleeper, we have incoming. A lot of incoming. You glance at Yujin. He is hearing the message too. A whole load of Conway ships are approaching this location. Conway? What are they doing here? I'm not about to radio and ask them. Seraphin's voice distorts. But it's not hard to imagine that news of this fraction drive has reached further than anyone wanted. You look across at Peter and see his lips moving, but hear nothing. He's talking to his crew. A moment later, you hear a click as he switches back to the open channel. If you heard what I just heard, then you know we are out of time. Peter looks deadly serious now, his face of diplomatic calm having fallen away. We singers are the only crew who can pull the fraction drive out before Conway arrives. There are more of us, and we have the experience. Let us take it. Don't let it fall into the hands of this system's biggest enemy. Sleeper, Seraphin hisses over the comms. Get back to the rig. No, Yujin cuts in. You aren't sure if he is responding to Seraphin, Peter, or both. The drive is ours. I have worked too hard and come too far to let it go now. He raises the long gun to his shoulder. You're all insane. Vesna spits out the words, her voice strained and hoarse. I'll leave you to your graves. She kicks off from the rock, arcing towards the crimson shape of the limb-hound. Yujin doesn't even watch her go. You see something flaring in his eyes, a dark drive with no other resolution. Talk him down. You put a hand on Yujin's shoulder, and his eyes flick to you. You know what it is to be driven, especially towards freedom. Yours is a life where each escape has been earned, both by desire and sheer determination. But you also know how lives are wasted, thrown against the walls that restrain them again and again, only to come apart. You know that determination must be tempered by humanity, by empathy, by care. And in this moment, that is what passes between you and Yujin. Solidarity, empathy, and care. Yujin's resolve crumbles and he turns. You see Peter watching carefully, his eyes flicking between the two of you. When he sees Yujin drop his gun, he nods to you and retreats. There's work to be done. You kick off from the rock together, you and Yujin, in silent resignation. Even when you reach the open airlock of the rig, Yujin does not look back. Once your suits are off, you both glide up to the cockpit to find Seraphin rapidly starting the drive. His console screen is filled with red pulses, the signatures of Conway drone ships bearing down on this lonely rock. He glances up as you enter the cockpit, but says nothing. You are thankful for that, at least. This is no time for glib remarks. You take one last look at the Aphelion path's final resting place. Across its surface, black-suited singers, like a small army of ants, industriously work to excavate and extract the fraction drive. In the face of the inhuman and cruel arm of Conway Extractions, it is hard not to wish them well. May their freedom buy them the kind of future you were not able to claim. And then the drive kicks in, and you leave the singers to their fate. Dang, that got tense. The ship is quiet as you dock with the Hollow, no one eager to speak about what happened out there in the shoals. Even Seraphim is silent, tapping away at the engine shutdown with comfortingly routine motions. Yujin broods at the back of the cockpit, looking drained and pale. You know it will take him some time to come back from this, to extract himself from the hold that fraction drive, that dream held over him. You wonder if he ever will, or if the freedom that object represented to him will haunt him for the remains of his life. You know, at least, that now is not the time to try to discuss it, to lay out exactly what happened out there. Yujin will retreat, of course, hiding beneath the glim personality you have come to recognize as his shield. But perhaps as the cycles pass, he will find himself changed. Perhaps not. Either way, there is much to be done, and this thankless adventure has derailed you enough. Time to get back to work. Well, that ended up happening. That got very tense. But at least we managed to find out the fate of the drive. The people of Ember's Song will use it to escape again and run somewhere else. Another system to do something. They have no home here. Hopefully, with luck, they'll find a home somewhere else. But that, I imagine, will be a tale for another time. Oh. Let the dust settle, so I guess some time will pass before it will be completed. Either way, I'm gonna end this episode here. Next episode, I think what we'll need to do is... Oh, it's time to return to Greenbelt. We need to help Aki and Nemba. So that'll be next, and then we'll go to Holmes Rock. So we're gonna be doing some traveling for the next bit. Till then, I am Chester44, also known as Fadai. This has been a Let's Play of Citizen Sleeper 2, and I shall see you all next time.